you know what day it is. It's time for a new edition of Mid-Range Monday, where we highlight the best mid-range shots from Week 11 of the NBA regular season. Just like last week, we tip off in Washington, but this time veteran wing Khris Middleton returns to the lineup using a smart pump fake to overcome an anxious GG Jackson. After a loose ball scramble, Middleton receives the ball on the left wing with a wide open look at a three-point shot. But with GG Jackson closing out strong, hoping to challenge the shot, he wisely sets his feet as if he's going to take the three, only to drive left and force GG on his hip. With open space on the baseline now and Jaren Jackson occupied with Alex Sarr inside, Middleton knows he can go to his mid-range pull-up here, but with Jackson on his hip, he has to improvise a bit. Just as Jackson cuts off his driving lane, Middleton throws a pump fake, which Jackson naively bites on, jumping to Middleton's left side. That fake gives Middleton plenty of room to take a step closer to the basket and convert the leaning jumper, using the glass to improve his chances of a made basket. This is just a classic example of a skilled veteran trusting his fundamentals to win a battle against a less experienced player. More importantly, Middleton didn't settle for what the defense was giving him and attacked a strong closeout with a drive. Then, he gave a taller and eager defender a ball fake, once again not settling for the first shot despite getting to his sweet spot in the mid-range. Even with under 10 seconds on the shot clock to work with, Khris Middleton exercised patience in the best way here, letting the game present opportunities as opposed to forcing his hand. That kind of patience only comes with time, and despite the amount of time Khris Middleton has been in the league, he's still reminding us that buckets have no age restriction. Next, we go out west to Los Angeles, where Kawhi Leonard used an array of dribble moves to set up the step back jumper over Tobias Harris. With the whole left side of the floor to work with and a hot hand brewing, Kawhi had no problem going the DIY route on this possession. With some room in the deep corner, Kawhi sizes up Harris with a tween hang dribble. Harris does a good job moving with Kawhi, discouraging him from the baseline drive. Then, as Kawhi plants his feet again, he steps back through the legs, which is typically how he likes to set up his step back three-point shot. Despite Harris's feet shuffling, he still does a solid job staying in position to contest any potential shot attempt. With both the hezi pull and step back threes taken away, Kawhi goes to option 3, the signature tween size up. Kawhi loves to use a double cross through the legs to set up his pull-up jumper in the mid-range, usually going to his right. After the first two dribbles, he hesitates, which always makes him hard to read because defenders don't know if he'll shoot, drive, or step back. Tobias Harris once again doesn't get too eager nor too laxed, and he doesn't let those dribbles disrupt his stance. However, it is indeed the third dribble after the hesitation that causes Harris's knees to buckle as Kawhi launches forward and gives another strong between the legs dribble before stepping back with the perfect window of space to sink the standstill midi right over Harris. Kawhi executes the double tween size up to perfection as his low base and excellent foot planting help him stun defenders and keep them guessing as he makes his move. In prior weeks, we went over the importance of letting your feet do the talking as an offensive player, as dribble moves mean nothing if they aren't convincing. While not known for his handle, Kawhi has mastered that, and it has actually helped him further master his mid-range game. It's been awesome to see Kawhi Leonard reach a career high in points per game after the injury struggles he's dealt with over the years. His resilience is admirable, and as a result, the buckets are coming in bunches. It was only right he returned to Mid-Range Monday after a performance like that. Going back east, we find ourselves in Charlotte, where you guessed it, Brandon Miller is back to add to his Mid-Range Monday resume with this ridiculous jumper to beat the shot clock in traffic. This definitely deserves a closer look. With 5 seconds left on the shot clock, Brandon doesn't have time to waste. The good news? He does have a mismatch against a slower defender in Myles Turner. At the top of the arc, he's thinking about using some quick twitch dribbles to time his eventual three-pointer over Turner. However, Myles is in a really good stance, preparing for the drive while still having his hand ready to contest any sudden jump shot. Seeing this, Miller opts to drive to his right and get closer to the basket, but with AJ Green stunting at the elbow, the driving lane collapses and Miller has to cross over to his left. Unfortunately though, it looks as if Brandon went for the highlight and tried to nutmeg Turner to get to that spot. This causes him to mishandle the rock and pick up his dribble in traffic. As Turner is winning the battle on defense here, teammates AJ Green and Ryan Rollins also come to make matters worse for Brandon, giving him zero room to make a play. Additionally, notice here that none of the Bucks defenders go for the jump ball because the clock is ticking away. Myles Turner stands his ground and eventually presses into Miller, creating the perfect environment for a shot clock violation on the Hornets. Yet still, Brandon Miller doesn't panic and uses his footwork to make something out of nothing. He tucks the ball away from Turner and pivots away from him while keeping the ball out of reach from both Rollins and Green. And as Green and Rollins retreat to their original matchups, Miller finds a new window of space to step through and get underneath Miles Turner's arms and somehow earn a great look at the hoop despite the intense defensive pressure. Even as he's falling down, he musters up the strength to get a shot off and watch it fall right through the net as the shot clock buzzer sounds. Sheesh. Brandon Miller strikes again, this time fighting for a shot similar to 2004 Kobe Bryant. You often hear the phrase when it comes to offensive rebounding, but it's fitting for scorers too. Persistence pays. Brandon had every option imaginable taken away to the point he had to use his feet to find the best shot window possible. It may not always be pretty, but they get the ball in pressure situations for a reason. The best scorers believe they are never out of a play. It wouldn't shock me if you told me that a Hornet found a way to overcome 3 deer. Looks like Brandon Miller showed us who would win that matchup, hitting the emergency button and moving up the Mid-Range Monday leaderboard. Staying east for the next few plays, we actually move back to Washington to see rookie Tre Johnson make his second consecutive appearance in the series with another veteran-esque decision en route to a step-back jumper. Late in the shot clock, the Wizards look to be operating against a zone defense from the Suns. When facing zone defenses, it becomes very imperative that offensive players drive and attack seams in the defense to make the zone less effective. CJ McCollum seeks to do that here before passing to Tre on the wing. However, as Royce O'Neal sees Oso Ighodaro unable to recover in time, he takes the initiative to move up and close out on a potential three-pointer from Johnson. Ahead of the play, Johnson gives O'Neal a head fake, successfully forcing O'Neal to leave his feet. As O'Neal leaps into the air, Johnson is able to drop the ball out in front of him and split between he and Ighodaro, opening the door to attack the space up the middle. That said, Ighodaro does a good job cutting him off and takes away the middle lane. But thanks to Bilal Coulibaly sliding into the dunker spot, Johnson sees the newfound space along the baseline and attacks it by stepping away from Ighodaro at an angle straight into a fadeaway, elevating over his outstretched hand. Johnson wisely pursued space on this play. It can be easy to stand still and be overwhelmed by a zone defense, but Johnson did the right thing by staying calm, cool, and collected and exploiting the holes within the Suns' defense. One head fake forced the defender out of position and opened up more space, and proper off-ball movement from a teammate created space for a shot attempt. Against zones and traps, less is more offense becomes even more important, and Tre Johnson showcases that here with this shot. He may be young, but his game definitely has some seasoning to it. In South Beach, we finally get a representative from the Heat as Norman Powell executed some nasty change of pace and direction to hit the baseline midi. With the Heat in transition, the ball eventually finds Norman as he fills the space in the corner. While it looks like he has an open three-pointer, he actually passes it up, seeking to drive by his defender before quickly realizing he doesn't have a lane. So he takes a wide step back towards his right, setting up the crossover back to his left where a driving lane should open up this time. Unfortunately for Norm, the lane still doesn't open up as Peyton Watson cuts him off, continuing to play great defense. Upon using his armbar to preserve the separation between he and Watson, Norman goes for a pump fake, hoping it'll catch the taller Watson off guard. But even as it doesn't, Norman sees the opportunity to attack his body and get into a comfortable shooting motion, knocking down the tougher jumper. He may not have drawn the foul, but he did get 2 points against some real good defense from Peyton Watson. Watson wasn't over-aggressive with his approach on the closeout. He still managed to slide his feet and stay right with Norm despite the change of direction, and didn't fall for Norm's pump fake before the actual shot attempt by keeping his hands up and maintaining firm positioning. But like we've went over numerous times, just because a defender checks all the boxes, it doesn't eliminate the chances of a talented and skilled offensive player getting a bucket. Norm did a good job sticking with the play and going down his checklist of options. He passed up the three, went to the step back, then went for the drive, all before deciding to potentially draw a foul on his defender. He did have to work pretty hard for this bucket, but his poise is respectable here. It may not have been the best display of shot selection, but Norm still managed to score against a taller defender. A large part of what has made Norman Powell such a scoring threat is that he has no fear and stays in attack mode, and that relentless approach is why he's able to find success as a more undersized shooting guard. Up to the north we go now, where the Magic visited the Raptors and Desmond Bane decided to play horse mid-game and switch the over-the-backboard rainbow fade. Wow, you know we gotta look at that again. Upon receiving the handoff, Desmond seeks to drive left after the screens from Goga Bitadze. However, the driving lane is immediately closed up thanks to the Raptors' defense. Yet despite being surrounded by white jerseys, Desmond shoots a floater, only to be blocked by Jamal Shead. Funny enough, the ball flies right back into Desmond Bane's hands, who now has the ball along a crowded baseline. Jacoby Walter is actively anticipating any pass to Tristan da Silva in the strong side corner. Grady Dick is right at the elbow monitoring any pass to Noah Penda. Jamal Shead is still in front of him, and Scotty Barnes is right there under the basket if Desmond somehow managed to get a shot at the hoop. I bring these details up to say, Desmond has very little to work with. Even a live dribble would be dangerous with his back to the basket. Any pass can be intercepted, a drive towards his left would be compromised, and the baseline is essentially the Raptors' 6th defender here. Oh yeah, and there is 5 seconds left on the shot clock. So what does Desmond do? He takes a couple dribbles and shoots the post fadeaway over his right shoulder. A good save. But this isn't just any fade. The angle of this shot actually took him behind the backboard, so he has to shoot it higher to get the perfect arc and still maintain his target so he doesn't hit the side of the backboard. Of course, Desmond Bane checked all the boxes and watched the shot hit nothing but nylon, ending the Raptors' great defensive possession with a demoralizing shot. Just when we thought we'd seen it all with Brandon Miller, this play is another example of what it looks like to get something out of nothing. But again I say, the best scorers know what to do in every situation, even if it looks crazy on the surface. Especially when shooting along the baseline, it is inevitable that sometimes your momentum will push you closer out of bounds and you still have to find a way to get the ball up at a much tougher angle. This is great spatial and situational awareness from Desmond Bane, as he was aware of the little amount of space he had to work with, the time on the shot clock, and the type of shot needed to have a chance at scoring. These are the kinds of shots you work on for emergencies only, and Desmond Bane saved his team in a moment where every option seemed to be taken away. Have no fear, the bucket getters of Mid-Range Monday are here. From the north, we go south to Houston to see Amen Thompson catch Johnny Furphy off guard with the behind-the-back dribble into the step-back off-balance J. Did that just happen? Another look here. Amen comes off the screen set by Jabari Smith Jr. with a head full of steam. As a slasher, Amen likes to probe the lane when he doesn't have a shot and look to dump off to the big inside. It looks as if he and Clint Capella wanted to connect on that kind of opportunity here, but Amen sees Jay Huff prepared to disrupt anything inside. So at the last second, Amen dribbles behind his back, ensuring he doesn't get caught in a tough spot. But he doesn't stop there. He proceeds to pick up the ball and shoot a step back jumper with great balance and elevation over the taller matchup and cash in on the bucket as he falls down. Let the church say amen. Who knew that Amen Thompson had this in his game? It's why you always gotta tune in to Mid-Range Monday, as even I get surprised by some of the players that decide to show up to the Mid-Range Masterclass. Amen used a great behind-the-back dribble to keep his handle alive along the baseline and displayed great balance as he initiated his jump shot, giving him great momentum to finish the play. If Amen Thompson can continue to develop his half-court game with shots like these, the league is going to be in a lot more trouble than it already was. Speaking of trouble, over in Utah, the Jazz started singing the blues after seeing these impressive shots from both Payton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown. Starting with Pritchard, with the ISO against Cody Williams, Payton Pritchard recognizes 3 things. 1, that his defender has a size advantage. 2, that his defender is giving him space. And 3, the paint is occupied. These 3 details of this possession pretty much told Payton Pritchard that a mid-range opportunity could open up for him. Of course, he just had to figure out how to get there. One thing we've learned about Payton Pritchard this series is that he doesn't waste movement, and he maintains that reputation with a quick cross to his right before bursting back over to his left. That slow to fast combo gave Cody Williams little time to react, and as a result, he nearly let Pritchard go by him. But as he attaches himself to Payton's hip, Pritchard steps back and stops on a dime, creating a healthy amount of space to shoot a fade at the free throw line. But again, facing a younger, taller defender, Pritchard is a step ahead here. Instead of taking that shot, he gives Williams a pump fake, which forces Williams to jump to Pritchard's left side. And with the right side open, Pritchard then steps towards that direction, initiating a step-through move. But he's not naive, as Kyle Filipowski is in position to meet him there. Knowing this, Pritchard pivots the opposite direction, once again throwing off Williams' recovery attempt and swishing home the fadeaway with perfect arc. As a smaller guard, Payton Pritchard knows he can never afford to waste movements as he can't rely on athleticism or sheer talent to cover his imperfections. In a sport where some players get overzealous due to the amount of space presented to them, it's refreshing to see a guy like Payton Pritchard waste no time going to work and getting buckets. His change of pace is lethal and his footwork is polished. He and Jalen Brunson are great examples of how even smaller guards can benefit from having pivots and fadeaways in their toolbox. Don't be fooled by the highlight. Payton Pritchard returns to this week's lineup with another calculated and skilled bucket. As for Jaylen Brown, he gets the ball against a taller defender in Lauri Markkanen and does an excellent job protecting the ball and creating space with a high arcing Derik fade over the top. With the shot clock going down, Brown receives the ball with Markkanen closing out in solid position, ready to contest the three or guard the drive. Brown thinks about the three before choosing to attack the small amount of space between Markkanen and Keyonte George. As he dribbles, he's met with a strong stunt from Keyonte George, which closes up the space he initially had to work with. That said, Brown does a great job using his off arm to shield off Markkanen and establishing a low base to play keep away with George. Then, he spins the opposite direction into the more favorable amount of space to his left, forcing Markkanen to move back, and while getting to the free throw line in just 3 dribbles. With Markkanen caught zigzagging, Jaylen Brown is able to take a quick step back and shoot off one leg, preventing Markkanen from getting too close to him and earning a clear window to the hoop to watch his fadeaway swirl through the net. The one-legged fade has become more and more popular as the years go by due to its special ability to create space against all types of defenders. Jaylen Brown has excelled using the move as he continues to showcase his elite shot-making abilities this season. And not only does he continue to build on a career-best year, but he also continues to reign at the top of the Mid-Range Monday leaderboard. Now appearing in back-to-back weeks, Jamaree Bouyea went to Cleveland and wasted no time showing us he's not a one-hit wonder after hitting this tough and one on the Cavs defense. After the pass to Colin Gillespie disappears, Jamaree eventually gets a screen from Mark Williams, and as he turns the corner, he hesitates to read the defense and notices Jarrett Allen in drop coverage. Not only is Allen in drop coverage, but Allen is solely focused on taking Williams out of the play entirely. And with Donovan Mitchell focused on denying any pass to Colin Gillespie, this allows Jamaree to accelerate to his spot just past the elbow and hit a mid-range shot. But of course, Jamaree makes the wise decision to initiate a hop gather, play off 2 feet, and pump fake as he feels Craig Porter Jr. trailing him, anxious to get back into the play. Just as Porter Jr. soars around Bouyea's shoulder, Jamaree leans into his midsection before leaning back and shooting the ball straight up, banking in the shot as he gets the and one opportunity to go. Just like last week, we see Jamaree exercise patience in the mid-range to overcome the defense. He did an excellent job reading the defense and using various change of pace moves, the hesitation and the jump stop, to find and create an opportunity to score. Jamaree Bouyea has certainly maximized his latest career opportunity with the Suns, showing that he can be a microwave scorer off the bench in this league with shots like these. After another appearance on Mid-Range Monday, it's clear that he's not some one-off player. He's got game, and he's got buckets for anybody that dares to stop him. Staying put in the Central Division, we head to Chicago as the Pelicans matched up versus the Bulls, and Derik Queen hit Nikola Vucevic with the Smitty en route to what's becoming his signature fade along the baseline going towards his left. One more look, with the big fella bringing the ball up the floor, Nikola Vucevic doesn't mind backing up, as Derik Queen isn't a good three-point shooter at 20%. But he is more than capable of knocking down stand-still middies when given the space. Queen gets past the three-point line and hesitates like he's considering the pull-up, only to attack the space to his left. With a smaller Isaac Okoro inside, Queen knows that if he can get by Vucevic, it should be an easy finish at the basket. However, Vucevic successfully beats Queen to his spot and forces him to go to his counter move, where the rookie uses a half-spin dribble, known affectionately as the Smitty, as the move was famously used by former All-Star Steve Smith. This move is a great way to catch defenders off guard with a less popular change of pace dribble, especially for those who operate in the post like Queen. That simple move made Vucevic think he was going to enter the post, only to continue his drive and find more space along the baseline. Rather than driving by Vucevic, Queen follows up the half spin with a step back straight into the Derik fade, using the separation and a high release to finish the play with the deuce. Derik Queen has become one of my favorite rookies of this class because he has a lot of old school game that you don't see a lot from young players these days, especially big men. He's quicker and more nimble than taller bigs and is strong enough to hang with bigs that are his size. Derik reminds us that change of pace moves are not just necessary for guards, but bigs as well. And with 2 appearances on Mid-Range Monday now, Derik Queen is making quite the case to be the next great big man who masters the in-between game. And speaking of mid-range masters, we're back in OKC this week as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander uses various between the legs dribbles to set up the step back jump shot from the top of the key. With the ball up top, Shai gets a screen from Cason Wallace as they successfully get All-NBA defender Toumani Camara off of Shai. But still though, he's matched up with a bigger defender in Deni Avdija now. But Shai uses his quickness and change of pace to his advantage as he uses a between the legs dribble to glide towards his right. As he seeks to attack Avdija's top foot, he knows that Camara is at the nail waiting to help on his drive, and Donovan Clingan is on the interior waiting to meet him at the rim, so he pulls back his dribble. But right then, he quickly attacks left and crosses over through his legs back to his right, which helps him create a bit of space between Avdija in the mid-range. With Avdija caught zigzagging, Shai takes his opportunity to step back and pull up for the long 2 over Deni Avdija's contest. What I appreciate about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is that while he prefers the closer mid-range shots, he's shown he's capable of making the ones from longer distance. Additionally, while he prefers to go left, he is still really good at making fades, step backs, and drifters towards his dominant hand. These shots tend to be tougher for scorers as it can be harder to square themselves up to the hoop. But Shai has done the work and still finds a way to make the harder shots look easy. And as far as his setup goes, his long strides as a bigger guard combined with his driving ability make him a difficult player to stay in front of. Deni Avdija did a good job, but Shai's bag is just too deep. It's no wonder he consistently finds a spot in the Mid-Range Monday lineup. Let's head to Dallas next, where the Mavericks faced off against the Sixers, and finally, Joel Embiid makes his Mid-Range Monday debut with this smooth hesitation into the feathery fadeaway. With the isolation against Daniel Gafford, Joel is right at home. With Gafford playing him tight, Joel gradually faces up to the basket. Despite having an abundance of space to his left, he's in no rush to get there as he surveys the defense. With Cooper Flagg moving up as a help defender while still monitoring a potential pass to Dominic Barlow inside, and VJ Edgecombe cutting to the basket maybe a couple seconds too late, Joel sees the opportunity to make a play for himself. After Gafford mirrors his movements, he uses a shimmy or a juke jab to rip through Gafford and attack the space to his right now that his defender is out of position. But as the lane gets crowded, Joel uses a quick hesitation/head fake to get the defense to believe he's gonna shoot, before continuing his dribble and crossing to his left. Upon moving towards his left, despite Gafford getting back into favorable positioning, Joel comes to a 1-2 stop before fading away from the defense off one leg, creating just enough space to make the fadeaway over a good shot blocker in Daniel Gafford. Joel Embiid loves to operate in the mid-range, sometimes too much, but when he's hitting shots like these, you know he's feeling good. If Derik Queen wanted to study someone to evolve his offensive game, this would be the guy to study. Even as a 7-footer, Joel moves like a small forward and is so good at using his footwork to create shots for himself in the mid-range. His ability to fuse his wing-like skills with his bigger stature and strength is what helped him turn from a 25-point-per-game scorer to a 30-point-per-game scorer at his peak. It's been great to see Joel Embiid look like his MVP self as of late, and I'm certainly rooting for him to make more appearances and represent the big men on Mid-Range Monday. Up next, we go to Indiana, where the Spurs matched up against the Pacers, and De'Aaron Fox schooled Pascal Siakam with his speed and smooth touch inside the arc. In transition, the speedy De'Aaron Fox rushes up the court to take advantage of the Pacers' defense not being set. However, upon being cross-matched with Pascal Siakam, he comes to a halt before choosing to attack him head-on. He then uses an incredible dribble combination to get to his spot. He starts with the between-the-legs dribble, followed by a launch backward as he inches closer to his right. This move makes Pascal believe Fox is going to drive baseline, so he jumps to that side seeking to cut him off. But just as he makes that decision, De'Aaron activates his turbo meter once again, giving Siakam an ultra-quick right-to-left crossover, planting his right foot with the perfect amount of force to sell the change of direction. As a result, the lane to De'Aaron's left opens up, but rather than trying to finish at the hoop over the taller Siakam, De'Aaron gets to the dotted line, pushes off Siakam for extra space, and finishes the play with a hop step backward, which allows him to get into his fadeaway and shoot the ball over Siakam's outstretched hand, hitting the shot with great balance and touch. Man, De'Aaron Fox is still as fast and as quick as they come. It's incredibly difficult to move at that speed and maintain control of the ball, but De'Aaron Fox has mastered that skill. We always hear the phrase, speed kills, and the only thing that's even more lethal than speed is speed with control. Additionally, his ability to stop and go and change direction at various speeds is second to none. He did an excellent job keeping his dribble alive from start to finish and using his handle to make Pascal Siakam work on defense. And that dribble combo, absolute perfection. It freed up the lane for him to drive, and once he got to his spot, he showcased his mid-range skill set by using the step back / hop combo to gain his balance for a tougher shot and put the perfect amount of touch on it to watch it fall through the back of the net. When he's rolling, De'Aaron Fox is tough to stop, and he showcased two of his best skills in one play with this shot, returning to Mid-Range Monday with an electric display. And for the final shot, we head back to Dallas, where this time the Rockets arrived to face off against their Texas rival, and once again, Amen Thompson shows up with a nifty Eurostep jumper off one leg. Man, what? I know it's going to take some getting used to, but yes, Amen Thompson has joined Brandon Miller as the only player so far to be featured twice in one video. Let's look at it closer. As the Mavs choose to trap KD upon his first dribble, it frees up Amen Thompson behind the arc. Since he isn't a good three-point shooter, he immediately looks to attack the space up the middle of the floor. However, the bounce pass from KD allows Max Christie to switch and recover on Thompson, with Cooper Flagg also coming to help at the elbow. While it's risky, this creates a scenario where Thompson can use his athleticism to split the two defenders. And similar to what we've seen from guys like James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Donovan Mitchell, and Brandon Miller, Amen opts to use the low pickup to rip through the defense and attack the small amount of space between them. However, with Max Christie moving backward and Cooper Flagg eventually returning to cover Jabari Smith Jr., it creates an awkward situation where Amen Thompson didn't split the defense as planned, but the move did create some space at the free throw line. As Max Christie notices that Amen has to play off 1 foot, he contests early, but doesn't fully commit as he seems to be surprised to see Amen Thompson actually take the one-legged jumper. Likewise, Amen knows that he has enough space to shoot the one-legged jumper and catch the defense off guard with an unorthodox shot. As he takes his last step, he decelerates all the way up to his shooting motion, totally catching Christie off guard and displaying a good amount of hang time to knock down the shot. This may not have been the ideal shot to take in this situation, let alone the ideal decision, but once again, it shows just how much the game has evolved. It wasn't a bad move from Amen, as he read the defense well and successfully used deceleration to throw the defense off. Additionally, the ability to maintain his balance on 1 foot to convert a shot like that is outstanding. Amen Thompson definitely had to improvise upon the reaction of the defense, and it was only right that he ended the latest edition of Mid-Range Monday in stylish, unique fashion. That's a wrap for the Week 11 recap of Mid-Range Monday. Drop a comment and tell me which shot was your favorite from last week's games, and as you tune into the games this week, keep your eyes on the players who are making their submissions to the Mid-Range Masterclass, as you just might see them appear in the next video. And with another week down, here's an updated look at the Mid-Range Monday leaderboard.